the part that comes now is very, very important, and I wish was a bit more extended, but we're gonna see that. For each of the 3 categories of technology, so production, military, and society, there is always one technology that is spreading in your country. Which exact tech that spreads to you in each category is out of your hands, but it will always be something in your current technological era which has already been invented elsewhere. So, I will say, this is not bad. You have it to certain degrees in other games. I mean, Hoi 4 kind of has it. You can exchange stuff, and just the fact that you have that the yearly progress goes away, or rather that the yearly penalty goes away, sort of incorporates this as well. Who else has it? EO4 sort of has it, right? Institutions and whatnot do it as well. Yeah, institutions actually, I think, are the closest comparison there. CK3 has it. CK3 has exposure, and that tech will then spread. I think it's totally fine to have something that is generally not in your hands. CK3 does this as well, just as a reminder. If you border someone, if you are the same religion, the same culture, if you, I don't know, I think if you've been at peace, does that play a role? I don't think it does. But there are many factors that make it so that a technology could be chosen to spread to you. In CK3, I have lamented the same issue that I want to lament here, and that is that it is totally out of your hands. I don't think that should be the case. I think that if you are trading a certain product with a country, that should give you a chance to get that tech for exposure. If you're importing something where they have tech that you don't have, that should give you exposure. Right now, exposure may be very impactful because it researches 3 at the same time, right, in each category, but you have no control over it whatsoever. It just means that the technologies that you didn't focus on will eventually become a part of your technological achievements as well. But I do think, especially if you are a country that has fallen behind, maybe Japan, maybe Persia, a country that isn't recognized, that had difficulties industrializing, for example, Austria-Hungary and Russia and so on, I do think a very active effort to import exposure, even whether it's successful or not, be that as it may, right? But the fact that we don't have that effort, I personally don't like it. Obviously, there's a big focus on this being a catch-up mechanic for unrecognized countries that become recognized, or unrecognized countries that, even if they are unrecognized, are able to research at a decent rate. This is basically what that means, but I will tell you, I wish it wasn't entirely random. I am not saying give the player control. I think tech spread out of their control is good because it can also give you undesired techs. It can give you Marxism, right? It can give you socialism, all the stuff that you as a you know, authoritarian backwards nation do not want. But I will tell you, I wish there was at least some influence, at least maybe in the production, maybe in the military topic, you know. Hey, if I, and again, this mechanic doesn't exist, but let's say you send one of your attaches to Japan to advise them, right, to give them knowledge about, for example, different styles of warfare so that they can fight against these samurai uprisings. If that were to happen, you can't do it anymore. Because in Victoria 3, you can't purposely exchange technology, expose yourself to technology in that way, at least not from what is written here. Just a tiny bit of influence would be nice in select ways, maybe, you know, because again, yeah, I don't know.
There is so much crisis in the world right now that it's a lesson for us to see how people have been able to help their neighbors. That creates solidarity, friendship, compassion.
St. Jude.
I feel like this is one of those things where you will just focus on all the text that you really want, and the rest you just kind of have to hope that it unlocks at some point, so that, you know, you don't need to worry about going backwards, or rather having to research it yourself, and you know, so that you don't pay the penalty on the next tech level. That's all I'm basically like hoping for. I hope that it doesn't become completely RNG and you just throw your hands up and go, oh god, I got the bad RNG again. That would suck. Some RNG is good, all of it is not that good. The speed by which technology spreads to you is highly dependent on your population's literacy, yet again. In addition, any innovation you generate in excess of the literacy cap is funneled into improving tech spread rate. I like that. This is a cool mechanic. Like, this is really good. If I could extra, choose on top of that, that would be even better. But I like the idea of saying, okay, my population is really in the gutter. They can't read, they can't do anything, but I have this elite in the university. They, for example, have international visitors. They write letters. They know about the international development of research, and they can bring some stuff to osmosis, via osmosis, right into my realm. I like this. I think that is actually a good mechanic. I like this core idea. I think that is very well done. Of course, literacy yet again impacts it, but what are you gonna do? They need literacy in there, because if you don't build up literacy in your pops, and I'm gonna say this from a pure balancing point of view, if you don't build up literacy in your pops, if it's not necessary to do, then they will never become politically active, and you're missing out on like half the game. And on half the realistic development of the time in this period, right? So it being bound to this is perfectly fine to a degree at least. In other words, oversizing your universities compared to your school system can assist in catching up to the rest of the world, but can never be used to get ahead of the others. Fair enough. Technology spread is also affected by your freedom of speech laws. Stricter censorship provides you with more authority, but hinders the assimilation of new knowledge throughout your country. This is often to your detriment, but could also be very well exactly be what you need. What you intended. The downside of having a well-educated population is that they get exposed to foreign ideas more easily, and some of these ideas might not be what you had in mind. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's take a look at this. Base weekly technology spread 31.91. Is this also Mexico, I wonder? Either way, base value, literacy rate, and then the censorship affects this negatively. The literacy rate here is a pure positive modifier, but of course doesn't add that much to low literacy, right? This results in a technology spread of between 15.9 and 47.8 innovation points invested each week in technologies that are spreading to us. Oh, so this is actually like RNG here as well. Currently spreading technologies, cotton gin, mandatory service, and medical degrees. Very interesting. Again, I do feel like... Listen, if you're Japan and you're completely like cut off, you say no entry, nothing, right? Except maybe the Dutch, maybe the Portuguese as well. Where's the spread coming from? Like a base value of plus 25. It's still a lot. If you start trading with the US, with the UK, with Prussia, with the Netherlands more intensely, right? If that happens, that should also be a part of this, in my opinion. And it should determine what you're getting. It should determine what you're getting, as far as I'm concerned. If I am in, getting machine tools, because I need those to actually industrialize, and I'm getting these from, for example, the US. I'm buying a boatload of them every day. That should probably influence how good I am at researching or exposing myself to production tech, right? Maybe I get a choice between a couple of things or something. I would like that. I'm just saying, I think the approach is solid. I think the approach that they overall have, the way it is calculated both for the exposure and the directed research is good stuff. I think the trees, the way that they're implementing them is really, really good. I just, coming from CK3 where exposure is this super passive thing, yes, it researches the stuff for me that I don't care for, that I don't care enough for to focus on it myself. But having no influence and it being like basically just like, you forget about that mechanic. And I don't think a mechanic that you can forget about, especially if it's about tech, is that good. If I make trade deals with advanced nations in specific areas, would be cool if that would influence this as well. I'm not really against the literacy rate influencing this, but I do think that it is more of an elite spread. The elite spread is most of the time. The literacy rate that is applied generally is definitely a bit of a compromise, I think, because otherwise you would have had to have a state-based spread of technology that you develop, because the states themselves differ in their literacy rate. Instead, it is applied on the national level of tech research. That is fine. I think I can live with that. Now, let's finish off this dev diary. The technology system in Victoria 3 is meant to shape and change the game as the campaign evolves. While a few techs apply straight bonuses to various attributes of your country, the primary function of most techs is to unlock new actions, options, and even challenges. Lovely. Very often, discovering a new technology doesn't have any immediate effect on your country, but gives you new ways to run your country and new tools in your toolbox. Love it. The introduction of new inventions and ideas can also act as a catalyst for emerging situations in your country with certain parts of your populace demanding these new developments be adopted or shunned. Much of this is driven by the journal system. We already saw that in the Steam screenshots. Refer to my video if you haven't seen that, which we will talk more about in a few weeks. But before that, we will cover another feature of crucial importance to grand strategy games, flags. See you next week. I'm excited for the flag dev there, I'll be honest with you. Do you think it's going to be purely like generated flags based on colonial situations, based on ideological situations, or do you think there's a flag creator similar to the upcoming coat of arms generated, right? I think it's only the former, just to clarify. I wish it was the latter as well, like on top of that, but hey, at least if we get a good general flag generation system, I already will be happy, because that is far superior to even what Victoria 2 had. Victoria 2 was nice though. Victoria 2 had a lot of good stuff. Anyway, this is it. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, I read them all, and I'll see you later. Alligator.